Hi, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I see you coming in one by one. Welcome to Let's Talk with Rochelle Live. I'm super psyched. I can't wait for us to get started. Thank you so much for joining us on time. We are going to be getting into some awesome things, and we are just waiting for some more persons to come on. But why don't you help us to speed things up? Go ahead and share this live with anyone you know. Share it, as a matter of fact, share it with everyone you know. Just go ahead and share this live. Share it to your stories. Share it on your pages. Share it in your WhatsApp messengers, just whatever platforms you have, because tonight's conversation is not one to miss. So while you're here and we are about to get started, go ahead and share the live, because it's about to get real good real soon. Again, thank you so much for being here. And if you're here, just go ahead and let us know in the comment section. Let me know, are you watching from Instagram, YouTube, Facebook? Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know if you're excited to be here this evening. For those of you who may just have hopped on and you're not fully sure what this is about, if you follow any of the pages, right, my page is on Instagram or Facebook, then you know that we have been doing a number of series, and we just closed the series Common Myths About Love. And guys, you know we love to bring the curtains down on the series with a bang. And tonight we are here to have a conversation. Marriage prep. Is it a fad or is it worth the hype? I want you to think about your opinion on that, because I'd love for you to also share your opinion in the chat section. Big up to Janet Dolphy. watching right now and you're making your presence known in the chat, go ahead. If you're here, just say hi. Shout out to us in the chat because it's going to be a conversation and we don't want to feel alone in the room. It's a family here and I want you to make your presence known. So, welcome. Help share the live. I see, yes, the numbers are climbing up. If you haven't shared it as yet, go ahead and share the link because we want to get in it, but we can't afford for too many people to miss it. Shout out to everyone joining from Facebook. Shout out to everyone joining from YouTube and Instagram, and just go ahead and light up those emojis. Let me see if you're excited. Let me know, if you are excited about what is happening here tonight, because I am just super psyched. And I want to say hi to you guys. So let me know if you're in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section if you are here with us. It's Let's Talk with Roshelle live. And we have some special guests with us this evening that I'm about to introduce. Esther Hibbert. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. So good to have you. All right, Jeanette, you're watching from Facebook. All right. And Esther watching from Facebook. Where are the people from YouTube? If you're watching from YouTube or Instagram, let me know. All right. So we are not going to delay much longer. We are going to be going into it and it's gonna be good. But before we go, let's just take a quick moment to just pray. Father, we just thank you for this evening. We thank you for this opportunity to be here. We believe your word that marriage is honorable, the bed is undefiled. We believe that marriage is an institution that is important to you. And we pray that as we have these conversations tonight, that alignment will come to the body of Christ, alignment will come to the kingdom of God, alignment will come for just about anybody who needs to be enlightened in this particular area. I pray, Father, that you will be in the midst of our conversations and that people will leave here edified, people will leave here empowered, people will leave here equipped to function in the capacities that you call us to function in. Father, we give you glory, we give you honor, and we give you praise. So let me at this time introduce to you the persons who are collaborating with me this evening. So it's Let's Talk with Roshelle live, bringing down the curtains on a series, and this evening we are collaborating with God's Way International Ministries. So people right there in the chat, just help me to make welcome or co-host this evening none other than Ministers Aldaine and Roxann Minott.
Hi. Hey, how you doing? Hi, everybody.
Yes. Come on, give them a little clap, give them a little excitement in the chat section, send up the emojis, let them know we're excited to see them. Of course, they're no strangers to Let's Talk with Roshelle. They've been here before and they're here again. Boy, when something good and something work, you just have to work it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So welcome, guys. How are you feeling this evening?
We're good. We're excited.
I'm fired up.
We're happy
I'm fired
to
up.
be here.
Yes.
We're happy for what you're doing. What you're doing is an excellent job.
Oh, yes.
Tremendous. Keep up.
Absolutely.
Good work.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And I'm super excited to have you. For those of you who might not be familiar with their platforms, they are the founders of God's Way International Ministry. Show them on the shirt logo now. Look how the shirt them nice. Look how the shirt. So God's Way International Ministries, you can find them on Facebook, you can find them on YouTube and on Instagram. So go ahead, find their pages. Not hard to find, God's Way International Ministries. Go ahead, find their pages. They have some amazing stuff to offer, but they're here to partner with us tonight. And if anybody is here coming from their pages, big up on a nice clean self. It's always nice to mix the audiences and to have your people over here.
Yes.
Right.
So welcome.
We see Sister Janet. We see Esther.
Yes. So it looks like it's your people them alone in the chat. So where are the people that have been watching Let's Talk with Roshelle? If you've been watching the series, if you've been keeping up, if you've been liking the series, let us know something in the chat, because I know I'm not alone over here.
Yes.
So if my back it is, let me know in the chat and don't shame me.
Yes.
Please and thanks. But yeah, so we just ended a series, guys, called Common Myths About Love. And we really went into some general misconceptions that people have about love. But what I did not tell my viewers is that we have a little brat up with them. Because we're nice, you know, so we stay, we're nice. We like things. I have a little brata, and I gave you 5 of the common myths, and we're just gonna quickly talk about the last one before we get into our main discussion for this evening. So guys, the last myth was or is that love is something that dies and grows cold. You know, I mean, I've been following all kind of things on social media, and a common statement that I've been hearing these days is, we grew apart, or this doesn't serve me anymore. This doesn't do anything for me anymore. There's nothing there. I fell out of love. The love died. You know, I don't know if it's just me, but this is something that a lot of people are believing, that their love can die and grow cold. And I want to ask you guys, by the way, how long have you been married?
This year is going to be 8 years.
Yes.
Yeah, you notice that the wife answer first and the husband just say, yes. Saved by the bell. Yes, well, congratulations. 8 years. 8 years you said, right?
Yes.
Almost 8 years.
This year will be 8 years.
This year, well, congratulations in advance on your new beginnings. Your 8 years, not new beginnings with somebody else.
No. The Holy Spirit.
Amen.
All right, but congratulations. Yes, listen, the general is in the house. All right, big up yourself, all of you who are watching from Facebook. Now, tell me, guys, what's your opinion on this? Do you think that love can really die or grow cold? Because I'm thinking that's a myth. But do you agree? Like, what's your opinion on that?
1 second, Roshelle. Can I just big up the Robertsons?
Yes.
They're also doing a great job on their page. So big up to you guys.
Yes, big up yourself.
Big up the Rob.
Nicholas Robertson.
Yes, man, the Rob dance. Big up yourself.
Rob Dance or Robertson.
Robertson.
Oh, Robertson.
You can't come spoil up my friend them name. Oh my goodness.
Forgive him, please.
Forgive me.
Yes, Rochelle. So you can go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, what's your opinion on that? I see Nicholas in the chat saying that anything that isn't watered can die. Perhaps not love, but attraction. What are you guys' thoughts on this? And if you're watching, let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Rob Dance, are we same one? Big up. Talk to me, guys.
Yeah. So the thing about love is that it's based on the word, it says that love is kind, love is patient. It says that whenever prophecy will end, this will end, but at the end of the day, love will stand. So love will never die. The reality is that we have failed love. We have failed based on what even Mr. Robertson said before, that the reality is that if we are not watering, or if we are not continuing to serve or to put work in it, it will die. But we don't believe that love dies. I don't believe that.
Yes, one of the things that I've really been hitting at throughout the series, I've been taking us back to 1 Corinthians 13. That really helps us to understand a little bit more about love. Love the verb. Right? Love the verb. Because a lot of us think that love is really just about how we feel, but there is a lot of doing that defines love. And when you think about it, is it, when we say love dies, is it really love that dies? Or is it that we choose to stop loving? You know?
I think that love can go through a deterioration stage. It's like you have a brand new car, but if you do not take care, the outside is looking pretty and shiny, but if you don't take care of the interior of the car, you'll find that the outside is gonna look beautiful, but the inside begins to become rotten. Things start going bad. All of that on the inside. So I think that's what love is sometimes. The shell of it sometimes still stands. You still do things for your partner. You're still kind. You're still nice in some way. But if certain things are not fueled properly, if it's not protected, if it's not properly taken care of, I believe that it can go. It can deteriorate after a while. So that's why we have to maintain. We have to maintain that.
So question, because what I'm getting is that it requires maintenance. So is it the love that dies or the relationship that dies when love is not consistently carried out? Since love is something that we do, it's us extending patience and kindness and all of the things that 1 Corinthians 13, because it even says in the text, if I can paraphrase, it says that love never fails. So if love doesn't fail, or if we don't fail to love, doesn't the chance of the relationship surviving increase in a sense? Like, what you guys think about that? Is it really the love that dies or the relationship that dies when it is starved of love?
I believe that the relationship dies when it is. You know what? As I said before, I believe it has to be maintained.
Yeah.
I believe it can go cold. And the thing that drives love, that proves that you love somebody, that can go cold.
Yeah.
Which will create a picture like I don't love you anymore. But the truth is that you're still doing the things that shows love. You're still doing some things that shows love. It's just that the extent of where you would go and the intimacy that you would have created sometimes goes dim, because the things that you should be doing to fuel that consistency, you're not doing it. You're not actively loving this person.
I like that. And let me just catch some of the comments here. Juliet Davis saying love cannot die. And the Rob Don saying love being selfless is a gift that keeps on giving. It's the choice we make daily to treat each other with empathy, grace, etc. All right. Esther is saying that true love will never die. And Janet is agreeing that relationships can die. Juliet, my apologies. Apostle Juliet Davy, my God, I'm honored. Thank you for being here, woman of God. And the Rob Duns again saying, so in that case, it doesn't die. However, our attraction to each other, yes, or desire for each other can disappear, right? And Apostle again, just sealing it up by saying, love is an action word. So there you have it. You have it. So people, you have it. It's a myth that your love dies. Perhaps your relationship dies. Perhaps the joy that you have in that relationship grows cold. But love never really dies. It goes dormant when we choose to stop doing it. Yes. So for those of you who may be wondering what's happening in your relationship, perhaps we need to return to the act of love before we can experience all of the other things that we expect to experience in love. And the Rob Dons are saying, let me just read one more comment. The Rob Dons are saying, yes, attraction can fade or change between partners over time due to various factors such as communication issues, diverging interests, conflicts or personal growth. However, with effort and commitment, it's possible to nurture and strengthen the love between partners. Well said, and I think we all agree with that. So put in the work, be intentional, and you won't find that your love is dying. You will find that your love is persisting, and as your love persists, your relationship is growing and becoming healthier. So thank you so much, guys, for weighing in on this. Just a little banter and just to wrap up the series, but we have the meat of the matter. We've done with the appetizers, and we're not here to waste your time. We want to get right into it. But before we do, Lord, I like how the views look. Everybody share the live as yet. If you have not shared the live, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and share the live. If you have friends who do not have social media, we're also streaming live on YouTube, right? I'm gonna ask Aldaine to just help me to post that link in the chat. It's streaming live on God's Way International Ministries at YouTube and at Let's Talk with Roshelle. Just type in Let's Talk with Roshelle on YouTube and you will see the thumbnail there, marriage preparation, fat or worth the hype. All right, if you're just joining, go ahead and let us know in the comment section. Right, go ahead and let us know in the comment section. I want to move on, but I see a question. I don't know if we have time to take it. I'm going to throw it out there and you guys can just give me a feedback quickly. What if one person... Okay, so the question isn't finished, unfortunately, so we'll have to move on. The links are posted in the chat. If you know people without social media, just go ahead and share the YouTube link so they can join us. So tonight, our main discussion is a question. Is marriage preparation a fad or is it worth the hype? Is it just a big, excitement and enthusiasm that we have as we are moving towards marriage, but it's short-lived and it's not anything that is sustainable or useful as we actually enter marriage, the real deal? Is it like, is preparation like a simulator experience that doesn't really equate to the real thing, or the skills that you're using it don't really help you in the real thing? Is marriage completely different from what we expect it to be as we're preparing? These are some of the questions we have to grapple with. Welcome, Suzette Matthews, just on time to get into the meat of the matter. And Lord, give us grace for this conversation tonight because there's some heavy stuff that we need to dig in. So let me go right into it. Let me direct the question to the Minott, 8 years in marriage, right? Not too young, not too long in it, just right there in a nice comfortable middle part. So guys, tell me, you guys have been married for 8 years. What was your mindset like going into marriage? Were you super confident? Like, did you think you were prepared? On a scale of 1 to 10, like, how prepared did you feel you were?
Well, for me personally, what I can say is that it was very scary. Even though through the process, I was preparing physically with, preparing for marriage, in terms of getting my stuff together, like my furniture and all of that. But I think at the time I was confident, based on where I was spiritually, because at the time, that was an important factor for me. But I think the other part of it, based on my perspective at the time, was that I needed to focus on securing myself financially to stabilize my family. And then 2, my life was okay spiritually. Mm-hmm. And also, one important factor, which as men, you can do the work in terms of on the honeymoon. That was my focus at the time.
So you felt like you were spiritually stable, you were stable in terms of a career you could provide, and you felt like you were physically given the unction to function.
Amen.
And so if you could put that on a scale of 1 to 10, like how prepared you thought you were, how confident were you that we're ready for this?
Well, I think I was at 8.
You were at an 8?
Yes.
All right, let me put a thumbtack on that because I want to know, if when you got in it, you felt that 8 was still a strong 8. Talk to me, Lady Minott. What was your feeling? Were you confident? Did you think, I have this?
It depends on what we mean by preparation, because some persons, their way of preparing is different.
Well, at the time, what was your mind? Yes.
At the time, I was just prepared. I was really prepared as it relates to age, because I was like, no, me at 27, I'm for married. Right? So definitely, I was prepared to be married based on age.
Yeah, man. Right.
I'm ready now for married. The time come.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Right. I think I was prepared to serve my husband based on where I know he was going. So I think a lot of preparation was put in that, maybe from birth, because I knew of my husband's destiny before getting married to him, and I felt like I was prepared to carry that destiny.
Okay.
I don't feel like I was prepared financially to help him otherwise in some ways, but even though I was working and stuff, but based on how our ambition did big and all of these things, and very ambitious young man, you know, I'm very ambitious too, but I really didn't feel like I was prepared enough financially to take us to where we needed to get to fast enough.
So
yeah.
So what was your confidence level? Scale of 1 to 10. How confident you felt?
I didn't really feel that confident financially.
Put a number on it. Scale of 1 to 10.
Maybe it was about 4.
About wow.
Yeah,
So-
I didn't feel that. Yeah, I didn't feel, because
Interesting.
I wasn't in my field at the time. Even though I was a trained teacher, I wasn't working in my field at the time. And I was working as a low-paying job. So at the time, I didn't feel like I was living out my, my expectations and stuff like that, and so I felt like I maybe wouldn't be able to bring much to the table at the time. But yes, I felt like I had other things working for me.
Yeah, so husband on a strong 8 and wife on a struggling 4 going into marriage. And what I'm getting from you guys though is how diverse perspectives on preparation can be, because I'm sure some of the viewers, watching probably have different things in their mind as it relates to what they need to prepare. And let me know in the chat, like, if you're not married yet, like what is your idea? What does it mean to you to be prepared for marriage? Let me know in the comment section. What does it mean to you to be prepared for marriage? for her, what is going on?
Nicholas.
Oh my gosh.
Nicholas, please don't bother with tonight. Honestly, Nicholas said it's when he left the honeymoon that he realized he needed something to live. No, it's serious.
We need a break.
I love you. But yes, Nicholas just married and done.
What do you mean?
Must have married.
Wow.
Yes, you know you could have function on the honeymoon.
That Oh Lord, help us this evening. But I love it. I love the interaction. Somebody say, if you laugh, what, sister? don't make whatever come after that come. So basically, people have different perspectives on what it means to be prepared for marriage.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing from you guys is that a lot of your emphasis was on like your physical or material readiness. So Roxann, you didn't feel fully confident because you felt like economically you didn't come with a certain power to bring steak to the table. You feel like maybe it's just a little, where did I bring? Sardine?
Yeah, 2 sardines, mackerel deer,
Mackerel,
so maybe not even mackerel.
No, don't call corned beef in here.
No, corned beef is luxury. Them days there.
All right. So, you bring a little curry chicken back to the table, but you never have the turkey and the whole roast that you wanted to have.
Maybe chicken neck.
Chicken neck or so, or a chicken foot, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
But she came equipped to cook though.
she came equipped to cook.
Yeah, man.
All right. All right. So you guys were at different levels of preparation. Nonetheless,
Yes.
you went in. Would you say that to the little degree, Roxann, that you felt prepared? Right? Because you said you felt like you understood his purpose and you felt like you knew how you could help him with that, and that was a part of what gave you your 4 in feeling confident. Was that something that you developed intentionally, or you think life just kind of gave you that level of preparation? Did you intentionally prepare at all even?
I think being raised as a pastor's daughter, I think you're basically trained that way. Where you're basically prepared to carry a man's destiny automatically. Whether or not you want to be a pastor's wife, your mindset for most of us, I would say, is really, geared to how can I help this man get to where he needs to get to? Because if it's something that we see our moms doing, especially, sacrificing, helping our dad, getting them to where they need to get to, preparing themselves, to really, cover them in certain way. That's what we're gonna take on. And I believe that growing up, I took on that character. So by the time my husband came, even before I was committed to him, I was always serving him, in encouraging him, in speaking into him, in motivating him. Even as my friend, it just really came natural. So by the time, before we even got married, it's like that really took something from my husband, because at that time, that's what he really needed. So while I was busy thinking that I was not equipped financially, which is why sometimes we are tricked, in doing unnecessary preparation that are really not going to add much to what somebody may need. So for me, I was buying the fridge and the stove and starving myself and making sure that I had at least assets. At least, some things were with my husband coming up on me too long on them. And I was trying to get things like that. I was saving to buy my bed set and all of these things to furnish my home, which I was doing. By the time my husband came, I had to take that same money that I was saving to buy his ring. And by the time that I realized that all these things that I was saving and preparing for, as it relates to material, my husband already has them.
Wow. And I feel like you basically answered a question that I wanted to ask you, but I still want to hear from Aldaine, because well, first, Aldaine, let me know what your preparation was like. Was your preparation more intentional? Because for Roxann, she feels like her upbringing as a pastor's child kind of made some things automatic for her. The whole idea of supporting a man, of helping him, the whole help meet. She kind of grew up seeing that as a pastor's child. What was it like for you? How did you prepare for marriage? What did you do?
Well, I think for me too, growing up in a nuclear family, I saw my mom and my dad married. I saw that, and so it was also something that I wanted, right? So in my mind, I wanted to be married too. I mean, I don't want to be alone, and I think it was the journey of searching for the right person, and in that journey, you are so caught up with the perfect will of God and also with destiny. And so there was a part in my life where God began to show me certain things, and I think that was a part of preparing me to actually give me insights and also to give me the hints of the timing. And so that was what contributed to even my sort of confidence. However, along with that spiritual backing of what the Father was saying, a part of my preparation or what I was doing in the meantime was I was actually researching. So I remember I went through a season where I was looking at temperaments, where I was looking at different type of personality types and what will work for each other, how we will work out through these different temperaments, even getting to know myself in terms of temperament wise. And I remember I used to watch a lot of, what's his name again? Jimmy Evans, I think.
Tony Evans?
Not Tony Evans, I think it's Jimmy Evans on Marriage Today.
Okay.
So I used to watch an episode of Marriage Today pretty much almost every day to get information about marriage. So I was, preparing intellectually concerning marriage. So that was my preparation for the most part, and the spiritual part, and the physical part. So that was where I was preparing. I was preparing by getting my furniture at the time, so that when my wife came, she didn't really have to bring much that, but just to bring her suitcase with her clothes. So that was where my preparation was.
So basically, your preparation was in terms of your spiritual connection with God to get wisdom and direction in terms of who, when,
Yes.
You know, and then there was the preparation to make sure you have the material thing.
Right.
But you also mentioned something. You spoke about your research and how you took some time to help you to learn yourself. And I think that's a very, very important thing, because a lot of times when we think about marriage preparation, I can tell you, as an unmarried woman who grew up in Jamaica, one of the things that you always heard growing up, and this is not me bashing being domesticated, because all of these things are important. You have to live somewhere. You have to be able to take care of where you live. People have to eat. You have to take care of children. These are very important. But I heard a lot of emphasis as a female on you have to learn to wash, cook, and clean. Burn which food in whose house. And you will be sharply and promptly reminded. And you say you want married, you know.
Hey.
But, and while these things are all good, at the end of the day, a lot of people forget the self-work. We think about what we can bring to the table physically, you know. Lady Minott spoke a lot about, you know, her lack of confidence in terms of her financial power. And she spoke boldly about her strength in terms of her ability to support a man's vision. But what about the inner work? Because we talk about what we bring to the table, but have we thought about who we bring to the table? Because it's not just the things that we're coming with,
Not
it's
the
the
what.
who is coming.
Come on, man.
And I think that has been lost in the conversation about marriage preparation. And I really want us to dig into some of these things. Before I go, let me big up my friend, Shanae Greatness Twin Ingram. Lovely woman of God, thank you so much for joining. I see you there in the chat. And yes, stay tuned if you want some more of that laughter. But let's talk about it. I mean, would you say that when you did your levels of preparation, right? Would you say that when you went into marriage, the things that you prepared for, you found them most useful, or like they were the most relevant things that you needed to prepare for? Any of you can go first. Like, was it useful, all of what you did, the areas that you focused on?
Well, for me, yes, some of the things that was I prepared for example, cooking, which is, you know, one of the things that my husband loves. He loves food. So the fact that the time was spent to prepare in that way and to serve in that way was very important for my for my husband. In fact, him tell me, say, if I could cook, he would have married to me. Yes, it's that serious. Yeah, the man that serious about him food.
Oh my God.
So in fact, him tell me, say, if I could cook, him would have married to me. All right.
Food.
So, food
Deal
is on the
breaker.
top of the list, right? So I felt that, you know, the you know, being industrial was very important, you know, for me and even for us, because it paid off even in the latter run when I had started to have children and stuff like that, right? But one of the things that as I said earlier, I prepared for things that I was not going to need, because I was trying to compensate for what I never had. And I felt like those material things would have made me more attractive to a man, to a guy that was seeking a girl. Because the word out of the street was, "Me don't want a girl with this and have that and whatever," because men were starting to say things like that. And then, you know, you find that a lot of young girls, they come under pressure because they may not be at a certain level in their lives. But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily where you are, it's where you're going. And sometimes we minimize the things that are important. We maximize the things that are really important, and we, you know, minimize the things that are, you know, really very important. And for me, that's what happened to me. I was maximizing on the things that were really not important at the time, and I was focusing on the things that, you know, were I was not focusing on the things that were very important, like my mental health. I needed work. I needed emotional work. I didn't even know about mental health. I didn't even know about certain things, and I realized that I spent so much time dealing with the physical, the outward appearance, you know, all of that, but I didn't realize that I needed a lot of emotional and inner healing.
You know, I want to weigh in a bit because there's this whole thing now, and I'm not speaking down on it, because I think with balance, a lot of things have their place with balance. Yeah. But we're in the era of the independent woman, the boss woman, her, you know, so many people are trying to be her, that girl. And I think that that is one of the things that cause women sometimes to even miss the other parts. Not that these things are bad, but there's so much emphasis on becoming her, but her is not really a whole person sometimes. Her is really just referring to, I got my own this, I have my own this, I can buy this, I can do this, I can go there, I'm a boss, I'm a leader, you know. But really, there's not much emphasis on your character. There's not much emphasis on your ability to be a partner, to collaborate with somebody, to submit. Because how dare you use the word submit in the era of the independent woman, right? So I think that this shift in the mindset of women as well, sometimes what happens is that we end up putting all of the energy in one place and then not putting any energy on some things that are really important. You know, what about you, Aldaine? Like, do you think that your preparation at the end of the day when you got in, you felt like the things you were preparing for were useful to you?
Well, I mean, it was useful, of course. But for the most part, I think what the issue for me, what I realized was can come off as not useful, was using what you have with wisdom. Mm-hmm. So I learned that while you may be prepared with many tools, but again, there's a next aspect of it, of the wisdom, or how to use these tools. Because I remembered, you know, though we can come in and we have all of these, you know, principles that should work, but there are certain principles that we have to, you know, apply some wisdom to it, because if there's no wisdom, while we may be applying the principle, we may be applying the principle not in the most effective way. Right? And so, for example, let's say like when we just got married, we had issues with communication. And one of the things was that it wasn't a safe environment as yet for intimacy, because we were not very much open to really listen like that, because we were so opinionated and we think that we're right and all of that, and you know, there were a lot of brokenness and all of that. And at the time, for something to work, what worked then, which we wouldn't, you know, we wouldn't so much promote, was actually, you know, texting. And we found that at the time, texting, maybe what our concerns, was the safest way at the time. I mean, is it the most healthy way? No. But at the time, it was the best way to communicate. And so we had certain tools, but for me, I think, I didn't have much wisdom to apply it, because every tool in different situations can be different. So I think that's where, in areas I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared how to apply what I know in some instances.
That's a very important point, because you know, it reminds me of being little and preparing for GSAT. Like, you go through this intense drilling, memorizing answers to these general knowledge questions, or in science and other things. But at the end of the day, even though you're able to give the answer to many of these things, oftentimes, if you were taken outside of that exam and asked to apply that knowledge to real life, sometimes you wouldn't be able to use it. And it makes me think of how, you know, sometimes a lot of men and even women, you're working really hard to get these material things imagine working really hard to accumulate wealth to get into marriage, to feel like you're qualified and you can take care of somebody, but you don't even know how to use the resources that you accumulate. Working hard to learn all of these things about communication, but you don't know how to apply them in an actual conversation. And I think that is where the self-work comes in, because if we can work on our character, if we can, deal with those hidden things inside of us, get clarity on what our traumas are, get clarity on what, triggers us, and what our strengths and our weaknesses are, and begin to do the work on them, then it will begin to show when rubber meets the road and we'll have to deal with another human being. Because we'll be more self-aware, we'll be aware of what's happening with us, and we'll even be more empathetic to somebody to understand that they may be, triggered by something, or we might be more intentional in coming to understand them. All right. So what do you think? Do you think that when you got married, anything took you by surprise?
For sure.
Like, you just see this thing and you're like, all right, I thought I was prepared, but no, sir. This can't keep.
Okay, so for me, while I could cook, this is a funny joke now.
A funny joke?
A funny joke.
I hope so.
A funny joke. Because
while
I could cook well.
Yeah.
But I remember stalling in half a tree.
You're really going to tell them that?
Yes. I remember stalling in half a tree. Waiting on my sister after work.
Oh, have a lie.
Talking to her long time. I used to married.
Oh my God.
So that I wouldn't have to come to cook.
Or come to bomb.
Because I just feel like my husband did love food every day stuff. Like, I didn't want a break. I feel still like I tingle. I want to tingle sometime. You understand? I wasn't ready to be pulled into this thing like that.
Commitment.
To commit to that responsibility.
Ah.
I wasn't ready for that part of being responsible. And for me, it took me by surprise. I was like, we're in love, we're young people. We can't cook maybe 1-2 times per week. You understand? Yeah. And stuff like that. I wasn't really prepared, for stuff like that. But it really was a big thing for me. It really was a strain for me. It was a stress for me at the time. And so, that was really a big thing for me. I was struggling normally for my own self when I was single. If I didn't want to cook today, I would not cook today. I would just eat a patty and go on my bed. You understand? Or do what I just make some tea and go on my bed and stuff like that. No, I had to be thinking about someone else.
Ooh.
I had to now be thinking about this other person that I have to esteem above myself, that I have to think, I have to think about it. And I didn't want to think about anybody but myself. I was still selfish.
Roxann, you're really working me up with this, because you were able to cook, but your mind did not transition from single woman to wife.
No.
So even though you were prepared in terms of acquiring a skill that you would need in marriage, you didn't have the mind to use that skill to benefit.
No. So I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready to be committed to that.
We have to round up the nuggets, when they're coming. So basically what I'm getting is that preparation is not just about acquiring the skills. There's a part that has to do with skill development, developing the skills for communication, learning this, as Aldaine spoke about, a lot of intellectual preparation. But there's also a transition, there's also a mind preparation that needs to take place, where your mindset begins to shift from being a single person or whatever you classified yourself to be before entering marriage.
Yeah.
I was reading something just this week, and they were talking about the fact that before you get into marriage, it's important for you to be a wife. They were highlighting the scripture, when, man finds a wife, he finds it a good thing. I think it was something Minister Kevin Ewing had written up on YouTube. I was reading it just about 2 days ago or yesterday. And he was saying that he found a wife, which means that she was already a wife before he found her.
That's it.
Right? It's not the wedding that makes you the wife. It's a mindset, it's a posture, it's an attitude. And so while we are reading the books and going to the seminars and taking the notes, have we become mentally the thing that we are preparing to enter into? So that's something for us to grapple with. And I wonder myself, whatever I'm doing to prepare for marriage, am I a wife or am I expecting to go into marriage and still be single?
Yeah. The next thing I was prepared for was the warfare that came with marriage.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes.
So the warfare part now was just, we go to church and we learn to pray and we shout Jesus. But this time, the warfare hit us by surprise, where this warfare would actually, be even in our marital bed at the time. And it really threw us off. As far as we were concerned, I was poised for greatness on my honeymoon. Amen.
Tell us about it, sir.
And while poised, for that, because we are normally reminded each morning by morning. Amen. Amen. Right? Salute. So, in the whole process, of being married and all, and you realize, wait, no man, something wrong this off, and you realize that there were issues where that is concerned, and there was the concern of, will we have children, because things were not going on in the bedwise, and we were getting to realize that these were actually spiritual attacks. And we were having dreams and we were asking questions like, what is this? We are seeing this, we are decoding the dream. The Lord is showing us these dreams, but we don't know what is it, and we were searching for help. At the time, there was nothing, or there's not much situations where we were on Facebook or on YouTube where we could actually, see certain things happening and see certain deliverance and all that. And, those things were somewhat of, a taboo, the whole deliverance thing. It was something that was not spoken of like that. And so we were not prepared for that. It wasn't until within the marriage of going through the journey of the certain sufferings and all of that, that we eventually, developed the tools of how to walk. But we were not prepared for that, to be honest with you.
Wow. The last thing I think about when I think about marriage, now it's a little bit different, but maybe some time ago, and I can imagine this is the same for a lot of people. The last thing that would come to my mind is warfare. You're thinking about bliss, you're thinking about love, you're thinking about all things lovely, but warfare, and the question isn't, is there warfare in marriage? I guess the question should be, why wouldn't there be? Because when you think about it, the Bible ends with the Bible opens with marriage and it ends with marriage. We see that marriage is on the heart of God. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that when two people come into covenant with God in marriage, they have the power of agreement. They become one. And when they begin to pray, thy kingdom come and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Can you imagine the things that can happen? The Bible says that one shall chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight. Can you imagine the exploits for the kingdom of God that can be multiplied through the agreement of a married couple, especially a God-fearing married couple. Why wouldn't the enemy see that as a target? You know, so I think that, boy, this is one of the blind spots for us. And we spend so much time into the wedding itself, making sure everything is perfect. We spend so much time making sure that we find what we think is the perfect person. But at the end of the day, we have to be covering all bases. There's that spiritual preparation. You know, there's that spiritual preparation, and I think it's very important for us to be sound spiritually and have our own relationship with God, because may I tell you, when these kinds of warfare and things come up in marriage, what do you do if you don't have a relationship with God?
And Shani say right here, you can cook, but can you pray?
Mighty God. Oh Lord, you can highlight that for me.
Yeah, you can cook, but can you pray? Because there are things that, trust me, when they start coming up, you won't even want to eat.
Hey,
you might need to turn down your plate.
You need to put on that food.
You don't even want to eat anything because the intensity.
This kind
of this.
Go it not out.
Hey.
Oh my God.
But by
the warfare.
Fasting.
And that's why, you know, we encourage people to check the background, the generation before. These things are very important. Know the demons you're fighting. Know the generational curses that are against, that are coming up against you.
And
know
those
what you're dealing with.
that you're breaking also, because one of the biggest thing, the greatest warfare of marriage is one. Sometimes for some persons, check the pattern in your family and realize that maybe in your family marriages don't work. And so the moment you decide to do this thing, you know, God's way, to actually settle out and to be married, you realize that some warfares come. And so when you're in a position where you are breaking patterns, then there is a lot of prone attacks. All right, so just to add that part. So sometimes you're like, I don't want to be married with proper warfare. Yes, because sometimes the same marriage that you're in, it is God using this marriage to break a pattern within the family. And so we have to prepare our mind and to examine our culture, or should I say our family patterns, and also examine each other family patterns so we know what we get ourselves into. Because the truth is, when you marry anybody, you marry their past, you marry their present, and you also marry their future. So we have to be prepared for that.
You marry their past, you marry their present.
Yes.
And you marry their future.
Yes.
There's something very potent in it, and I think it's a good time for you guys to let me know, you know, what would your answer to tonight's question be? Because how do I prepare to marry somebody's future? I don't know what the future will look like. No matter how the person outlines their plan for the next 5 years and then the next 10 years and the next, no matter how we plan, we really don't have much. We don't have ultimate control over the future. So I mean, I can know the traumas of your past, as well as me can buck it up in a marriage and would get counseling and would figure out how to navigate them. You know, I already like your present, which is probably why I choose to go through with this. But you marry their future. Like, I don't know what's in your future. What if there are some things in your future that I've never even thought about how to deal with? So the question is now, is marriage preparation a fad, or is it worth the hype? This hype around, you know, ladies, single ladies, you want to get married, single men, you want to get married, but are you prepared for marriage? I think it sets us up to feel like we can do something to prepare for it that is ultimate and final, and that should guarantee us success. But is that really possible? You know, is the hype and the feeling of safety we will get around this marriage preparation thing? Is it true? Are we being misled? Are we going in with false expectations?
I believe that there are some things you can prepare for, while there are others you cannot be so prepared for.
100%.
There are things that are, are very much unseen. You will not know what can happen, what can come across, 10 years down the line. But there are things that you need to prepare for. For example, you need to make sure that you're prepared spiritually to help this person to carry their destiny. A lot of young people I find now that it's happening is that people are marrying to people based on where their current mindset is, or where they currently see themselves. They're married to people without even knowing what their expected end is going to look like.
That's it.
And as a result of that, you find many making mistakes as it relates to their partners, the ones they're choosing, because we are focusing on the physical aspect of a person. We're focusing on what you have to bring to the table. We're focusing on how can we build something together, but how can we maintain this together? Because you can build something but not maintain it. So when we are choosing someone, I would say prepare yourself to choose someone that you know will be able to maintain what will be built by you both.
So somebody with the character to sustain what is built.
Not just the character, but you have to know this person in the spirit. You have to know where this person is going. Some of us, we only know the person by the flesh, but we don't know them by the spirit.
Can you elaborate on that a little? Because I know there may be persons watching who might not even understand what some of these things are that you're saying. Like, what do you mean by knowing somebody in the spirit? Like,
all right, for example, you may be a beggar in the flesh. You may be a beggar in the flesh, but you're a king in the spirit. And sometimes the preparation is to get you to that place. So the person meets you as a particular person. The person meets you just as a banker, right? They don't see you going any further than just being a banker and having a couple dollars and being comfortable after a few years. That's the furthest they have it in their minds to go. When this person may be called for ministry, and you have no idea of ministry, you don't want to be in ministry, you don't like nothing concerning ministry, and then they choose a person that does not even carry that grace for where they're going.
That's it. Or the capacity.
And they don't carry that capacity. They don't carry that grace to carry those people into the next leg of their lives.
A suited helpmeet are suitable.
So we made mistakes by choosing persons based on who we currently represent now, and not where we're going. So the first thing is to know where you're going.
That's it.
Where am I going? What will my expected end look like?
That's it.
What is God's intention for my expected end?
That's it.
When you're making a choice, and this is especially for men who are choosing women, when you're making a decision to choose a wife, you don't just choose them because they shape well, because they look good, because they can bring a lot of money to the table, because they can help you get that flashy car, because they can help you buy that flashy house faster. There are some women that they are not there yet, but what they carry in the spirit will be able to get you to the next leg of your destiny.
Yes.
And so we are choosing, because there are things that can be worked on. We are ignoring that sometimes we are not focusing on the things that that cannot come overnight. The things that has to be built over time, the things that comes with suffering. These things don't just come like that. But there are some things that you can go back to school. You can do this. You can uplift yourself. You can actively work on certain things to get yourself to a certain level. But there are certain things, if you don't carry that capacity to bring that person to the next leg of their destiny, I'm telling you that you will suffer in the end.
So it's really talking about the carrying capacity. And I remember when I was going through my elimination, when I was considering different individuals, as I was dating, and I was getting to know people. I remember at one point, one of my rubric that I was actually crossing off some of their names are of my choice was you can go pray for me. Because at the time, based on where I was spiritually, the Lord was actually showing me or giving me a glimpse of my expected end. And so in those times as a man, I wrote down my vision, or should I say his vision, that he would have given me for the generation, for my family. And so when I examined the vision, and as he was exposing expected end through dreams, through knowing it in my spirit, through prophecy, I was searching for that person with the carrying capacity who can carry the vision, or a suitable help me to carry the vision. And so that is very, very important, that the person that we look for is who can carry the vision. And that is why even in Genesis it says that, and God, there was no suitable helpmeet, but God prepared a suitable helpmeet, and he presented her before the man. And the Bible says that he said, surely this one is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and I shall call her woman. So he immediately identified that this was a suitable helpmeet for him. And that is what, a person should look for, especially males, especially men, that is. Look for the person who has the carrying capacity to the expected end. As my wife said, that the rest, some of what we're focusing sometimes can be worked on. We do grow. So that's very critical, the carrying capacity of destiny.
As I thank you guys so much, as I hear you speak about this carrying capacity, it makes me reflect as a woman who is, waiting for marriage. It makes me reflect and ask myself, how malleable am I? How flexible am I? Because it's one thing for this person to know where they're going, and for you to have the capacity, to carry, the destiny they're carrying. But the truth, there's a reality that exists too, that there are some things that come along the way. There are so many scenarios that can play out. You marry a man, both of you are on a certain level spiritually, and you're pursuing a certain path, and let God fully have the capacity to just interrupt your life. Maybe this is not something that was prophesied before, or maybe some event takes place that causes your life to take an unexpected shift, something that you couldn't perceive. And the question now for me as a woman waiting to go into marriage, and I think anybody waiting to go into marriage should ask themselves the question, is a part of my preparation my ability to learn, to keep learning, to keep growing, and to be flexible? Because I think sometimes we'll go into, a lot of persons probably go into marriage like a wooden ruler, just this straight line, and they expect everything to go according to what the ruler says it should be. We should be able to size it up with this instrument. But there are some things that you can't size up with that instrument. You might need to twist, and you might need to turn, you might need to adjust, you might need to unlearn some things, and you might need to relearn some things. Because the thing that people don't realize, is that there's a lot of talk about mental health and trauma these days. And I think that a lot of people go into marriage, or even before they get into marriage, some of these things come up in their serious relationships. But we enter into these commitments, and traumas from the past and unresolved business start coming to the surface. And sometimes as we're healed from these things, a different version of us comes to the front. Because even the healing, can change the dynamics of the relationship. Because we talk about what the trauma itself do and how the relationship toxic, but what about when you married somebody who was broken, and within the marriage they become healed?
And that is the reason why I say you have to know the person beyond the flesh.
Yeah.
Because some people will connect to people based on the fact that we have brokenness in common.
Yeah. So ultimately, what I'm getting from you guys is that there are some ways in which you can prepare for marriage. It's important. So we're not advocating for persons to, jump off the preparation train. There are some intentional things that you need to prepare. But a part of that preparation is a mindset that I will remain teachable. I will be a lifelong learner. I will not see myself as having attained to, but one that is continuously reaching towards learning, growing, and adapting so that my marriage can work for what it is now and what it is becoming.
Which that is a conversation that it's very important that two people have. That while we know that we're not there yet, or we're not fully healed yet, we are doing the work. One of the way we started doing the work was to make sure that we went to counseling before we got married. And a lot of people, they skip that part of the process. They don't feel like it's necessary to go to a counselor. And I'm not just talking about a pastor, going to a pastor who is not trained. And so you can go to your pastor, but you also need a therapist. You also need a counselor,
a professional
who's trained in the area. I do support you getting spiritual advice and stuff like that and some wisdom. But there are some things that really need professional help.
Yes.
And so we were blessed enough to be getting spiritual guidance while we were also, being served by someone who was trained in that area. He was just not a pastor, but he was a trained counselor. And so if you can find somebody then that is spiritual, that is also a counselor, nothing is wrong with that. But make sure that the things that needs to be, spoken about, they are exposed before entering this place, so you will know what you need to work on and create a plan of how we're going to be actively working on those things to get to where we need to get to. So by the time you get to your expected end, it will not be a surprise that, this person is changing and I don't know. No, you will know this person. You know what when they're healed, you know what you're going to get. That these are discussions that we have to have. When I know this is not you, this thing is being clouded by your fears, by your emotions, by the things that, the traumas. But I know once you're healed, then you're going to be this person. And will I be able to stand in the room with you? Will I come with you on the healing process, or will I regress and allow you to go ahead of me? And then by the time you get there, I cannot handle you.
Wow.
Or you cannot handle me.
Incompatible now.
Will I create an incompatible situation by not growing with you to be healed?
Wow.
So these are things that you need to ask. Are you willing to grow with me towards healing? Because we're not saying that everybody will be fully healed before they get married. The reality is that you may not be healed. But there has to be a conversation around, are we willing to do the work in getting there? And what are the things that we're going to be putting in place to actively work towards that? And how are we going to work on being accountable to each other to ensure that we heal, so that we can properly serve each other at the next level?
Beautifully said. There's so much that we want to dig into, but unfortunately time doesn't stop and pause when you're having a good conversation. I want to invite you, if you're here, it's not too late to share the broadcast. Persons can always catch the rerun. For those of you who are here, thank you so much for being here, and I love the engagement in the chat. So big up your nice clean self if you've been jamming with us in the chat section. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them out. We might not be able to see all the questions, but for those that we do, we'll probably try to take a minute and answer if any comes up on my screen. While you're putting your thoughts together, let me just throw out my final question, at least to our guest this evening. For those who are on the preparing end, they're waiting, they desire marriage, and they are preparing, they're in the process of preparing, or they want to start the process of preparation, what advice would you give to them on how they should prepare, what they should be focusing on, and the mindset that they need to have, entering marriage?
Well, what I would say is that when we hear the word preparation, when we talk about food and we prep the food, let's say we're going to cook some chicken and some rice. When we prep the food is when we cut up the chicken, is when we season the meat, is when we cut up the vegetables to put in it, is when we put the amount of rice apart, and we do all that prep so that by the time it's time to cook the food, it's very easy, it's very straightforward, and there's a smooth time as we do the work to cook the food and to partake of the results. And the same goes for marriage. The preparation part makes the work a lot easier, or can make it a lot easier going into marriage. And so for me personally, I believe that based on what I know now, what I would say and encourage person is that set your mind to know that it's going to be work. And the person will normally say, oh, I feel butterflies in my belly, right? Guess what? Those butterflies need to be fed. And we have to constantly put in the work to feed these butterflies. It's not just in the honeymoon phase. I personally believe that the honeymoon phase is not a myth. It can be also a reality, but it takes work, right? To feed the butterflies, to grow them, and to even reap more and more butterflies, to multiply them. There we go. You understand? And so what I would say is that what I know now is you need to do a lot of preparation on yourself, especially. While the physical aspect is very important, and what I see for even men, it's very important that we set certain things in place. But what I've learned is that even if you're at the stage where you can't do everything, because for me personally, I wanted to buy a house and get the car and get everything before, which is good, very good and important. But I think at the time, I was I wanted more and more because I wanted to bring much to the table, because I believe I bring much value. But I think when you are at the place where you can handle yourself, and you can take care of your wife, because when I took my wife, when I was married, I was the one who, for the most part, I was the one who actually took care of everything. So how I saw it, and I believe that if you're going to take a wife, you should already be taking care of yourself. And so when you take a wife, you understand? It shouldn't be an issue. And so I think I wanted more than that, but I was at that place. But I learned to appreciate that it's not bad to start at a low and build together, because somehow that process of building together of ground zero, it adds a cohesiveness. It promotes that synergy. You understand? And it promotes us growing into understanding that there's no spirit of what's the word now? Ownership, yes. It eradicates that when you're building together. And so appreciate that process of building together as one, because that's a very important process. I'll say. Also what I say is that pay attention to even conversations like this. I wish I had been involved in like these conversation and these programs. I didn't go to any of these, to be honest with you. I just read and stuff. I wish I had went to programs like this and to actually hear persons who would actually talk real stuff, talk up the things, and give us insight of what to look for, so that going into it, I would have heard how some persons would have overcome, and so I wouldn't have to go through my experience and then have to develop my own wisdom, but I could benefit from a next person's wisdom, from a next person's mistake, so I don't make the same mistake, right? And so what I would have done, based on what I know now, I would encourage persons to do: go look at yourself, get counseling, check yourself psychologically, check the areas of rejection, check the areas of insecurities, check those areas, because the work, when you do a lot of work on yourself, and you're more stable and more whole, it makes relationship way sweeter, so that we can speed up the process of enjoying the fruit of the marriage, and you don't have to so much be dealing with my past. But when I come into marriage, we can get straight into my present, and we can move to the future. Because many times in marriage, we are spending much time wrestling, kickboxing, everything with the issues of the past. And so I encourage, deal with the issues of the past. You answer those issues that you don't tell nobody, those issues where you deal with, somebody touch you there, so, or somebody taught you a certain way and you haven't forgiven. Deal with those issues, because carry those issues in the marriage give problem, and I'm tired to see it from different stories, from different persons who I've spoken to, that these are the primary issues that even within 10 years of the marriage have not been dealt with. And then people want to be divorced because these issues are not dealt with. So I would very definitely encourage people, work on that part, and always be in a position where you are teachable, you are adaptable, and very importantly, pursue intimacy, right? That's our next topic in itself. Pursue intimacy. Do date nights, let it be a priority, where you set aside a time where you and your partner go out and promote the growth of intimacy. You understand? And some good sex. And I'll leave it right there.
For the married
For the married people, that is. Let me
You
say
took it right out of my
Thank
mouth.
you.
As I was wondering if I should take that advice, and then
I'm
the
sorry.
word of God on my heart,
My
it
bad.
was a little conflict,
My bad. So I'm speaking, all of these things, it helps along the journey. And for those who, you reach married stage, these are things to consider. All right, so let me carry that.
And quickly for me, if I could go back to my 20-year-old self, I would tell myself, spend less time focusing on covering the wounds with a bandage to attract brokenness to myself.
Oh my, hold on, stop. I nearly hit over the mic. I think that needs to be said again. That's one of those things that you need to capture it.
Spend less time covering the bandage.
Covering the wounds.
Covering the wounds with bandages that will attract brokenness to me.
Can you break that down for us, please?
Because sometimes we focus on the physical. We cover the wounds, the ones that cannot be seen, and our physical is basically the bandage. What you're seeing on the outside is the bandage, and we don't understand that the inside is the wound. And people don't get to the inside before they see the outside. So most time they're fooled by what they see on the outside.
Yeah.
And so we spend more time putting on the makeup, so we spend more time, making sure that we look pretty, we look nice, and all of these things. But we spend less time really focusing on healing the wound. And I would say to my 20-year-old self, what is most attractive is when you work on the inner you, because that's the real you.
Yeah, that's true.
The outside is a facade, but the inner you is what is real.
That's it.
And I would spend most of my years working to heal the true me. Because sometimes we're in a marriage and we're still trying to discover who we are.
100%.
Because our identity was the outside.
The
status, everything that makes us seen. But the inside is where the brokenness lies, where will destroy everything that you built. So I would say focus on working on healing you. And when you heal you enough, then you'll be able to attract wholeness. And wholeness doesn't mean perfection.
Yeah.
But wholeness means both of you are at a certain level emotionally where there will be no friction. There will be unity. And you'll be able to work through your lives at a steady pace. One of the things that hindered my husband and I was because two unhealed people came together. And so even though we had a lot of resources and we had a lot of things in our hands to work with, we could not see growth. It could not flourish because we were not ready to take on that, because we could not work together. We were still having issues.
Yeah.
We needed to be healed. So it will cause you to waste less time working on this, being crazy here, and more time actually going to a steady pace in building. So that's what I'll say to any young woman that's out there. Work on you first. Stop focusing on who likes you, who doesn't like you, who is attracted to you, who is not attracted to you. The greater part is working on myself. How can I be better for me first? Do I like what I feel in me? Do I like what I'm experiencing in me? And if I don't like it, it's not fair to the next person because it means they won't like it.
You know, you guys dropped so many nuggets, and my God, I had to be fighting myself back not to just jump in and cut you guys in the midst of what you were saying. You know, one of my words that I was carrying from last year, and I'm still working with it this year, is authenticity. And I think that one of the things that is very important for a relationship, especially marriage, to thrive is authenticity. It's being aware of who I am and presenting that as truth. And a part of the journey to authenticity involves self-work, because it means that along the journey of keeping it real and becoming aware of who I truly am, is that I'm also working towards becoming who I want to be. You know, and I also want to say that a lot of the times, and especially I'm a Jamaican, born, raised in Jamaica, lived in Jamaica. I mean, one of the things that you find, the whole thing with mental health, I mean, we're getting more educated about it now, but one of the things is that we think that if it's not a sore, you don't need to treat it. If there's not a crisis, you don't need to check in. And this is one of the reasons why we tend to miss some of the self-work. Because we think that because I'm functioning okay, because I appear okay, because my relationships with people are okay, then it means that I'm good to go. But if we're all pursuing authenticity, and if we're honest with ourselves, and if we take the time to sit and to really think about who we are, how we're existing in the world, and what we're really being and giving, then we will have an opportunity to truly stop and to address these things. You don't have to wait until the house collapses to fix something on it. You don't have to wait until everything rusty and drop off to change the pipes. There's a maintenance that we need to keep on ourselves spiritually. Physically, we exercise to maintain our physical health. We eat properly. We do our checkups at the doctor, right? We practice our spiritual disciplines to maintain our spiritual fitness and health, you know, and we need to do the same thing in terms of our character building and in terms of our mental health. You know, we have to develop discipline in all of these different areas of our lives. And that is a part of the preparation. A discipline that helps us to create a lifestyle of growing, a lifestyle of learning, a lifestyle of becoming a better version of myself, so that I can offer a better version of myself. You know, I think this has been a very rich conversation. I think so much more can be said, but we already have so much to chew on. I saw some questions in the chat. I think Shani was asking about books that you've read. I think I see the links for some of the books in the chat, and we'll just go ahead and continue to add those. And I think you answered the question, Roxann, about how you would advise a young person who is in college, a college graduate, or a young person who is still living with their parents, how they need to marry. I want to put an insight on it. I'm not married yet, but one of the things that I'm coming to learn is that when I do get married, I'll be getting married to a person. And this person is going to have access to the most intimate parts of me on every level. And they're going to see the parts of me that I don't readily give out to people outside of that space. And I think one of the best way to test what your husband will get is to become aware of what your family is getting. Because the people who are closest and most familiar to you, all things being equal, if you do not love them, honor them, respect them, and if you're not able to serve them, then why on God's earth would you be able to do that for someone else, whether it's a husband or wife? If you have no respect or regard for the people in your immediate family. And I mean, the argument is here that, you know, some families are toxic and stuff. Well, what if some of the traumas and the triggers of your husband or wife begin to feel toxic? Like, how are you going to navigate the space? So I think a good place to start is by becoming the best daughter, the best son, the best brother, the best sister, the best cousin, the best friend that you can become. And as you're becoming in those areas, the consistent part of your identity is being sharpened. So when you get into marriage, which is a lifelong commitment or covenant, then you will be more equipped to continue to be who you are and to serve. You know, it's been
and I'm sorry, Rochelle, before I don't want to break you, but I feel like this question has more to it than what we are responding to. I think I'm not sure exactly what is it she's asking. There could be several things she's asking right here, because she mentioned about living with her parents and being a graduate. I don't know if that has anything to do with financial, because remember that there's also this notion that you should be living on your own and be independent to show that you're ready for certain things. For women now these days, one time that was just for the men, but now this is becoming a woman thing as well. I'm not sure if she's asking from that place, so I think there should be some clarity.
All right, well, you can go ahead and just clarify that for us in the chat, okay, she's saying it is layered. So if you could just give us a little bit more detail, or let us know if your concern has been answered. Let us know if what you had in mind, if you feel like it has been addressed, or if there's still something. Okay, so financially.
Okay. So I can respond to that. I will say to every young girl, don't change the foundation of the principle, because society is going in a particular way. I believe that a lot of women are forced out of their parents' home to mess up themselves. And the truth is that the man should feel comfortable coming to take you from your parents' home. Absolutely nothing is wrong with that. You're at your parents' home, you don't have to be paying no rent, you don't have to be paying no bills like that. You should be preparing yourself to be a bride. That is the most important thing. Financially, you should be saving your money, whatever money you get. You should be preparing to help that man, not using all of the resources that you have to prove that you're able to take care of anything. I don't believe that. I believe that as a woman, it is very important that you stay with your parents. So many young girls are going out there getting themselves messed up. I came out of my father's house and I was working. So work, save your money, invest your money, right? And prepare so that when your husband come, you would be even a little bit more steady to help him and not be using all of that resource that you're getting. That to me, that's a waste.
Yeah.
She also mentioned something about maturity level, and I want to chime in that living in your parents' home doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot develop a sense of maturity and responsibility.
Exactly.
Because if you're living there, if you are, starting your career, you're newly employed, I mean, you're an adult now. You don't have to sit there and wait for your parents to buy food. There's a certain assertiveness that you can take. There are certain responsibilities that you can choose to take on or to contribute to. There are certain things that you can practice. Don't just sit and wait for your parents to pay the bills as they also do.
No.
Find out what the processes for these things are. How do we go about paying these bills? Ask the questions and get yourself involved in the process so that you're preparing. So when you make the transition, if it is that you're leaving from your parents' home into marriage, when you make the transition, you would have already gotten acquainted with handling certain things.
And in a place of submissiveness too.
Yeah.
And then women stop creating excuse for men who does not understand what it means to cultivate a woman. A lot of men really don't know how to do that. And so they come up with all of these brand new things. You should be living out of your parents' house to prove to me that you're ready. That's a lie. You're supposed to come out of your parents' house.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't, it's not like you're at a disadvantage.
You're not there. There are
but,
reasons. If some of us live far away, we have to move away for work. We have to, for different reasons. And some of us, even when we move away, sometimes we end up living with family members that we are accountable to. You understand? Accountability is very important. I'm not going to say that you can't live alone, but I'm saying don't force yourself into that avenue just because you feel like it is one of the requirements to prove that I am mature enough to do this, because that does not speak maturity. There are many women that I know right now who are living by themselves, who are some of the most immature women you could ever find. Selfish women you could ever find.
So from a male's perspective, for me, I was always on my own. Especially from my left college, I was always this independent person, which is okay. But if I should really look back on it from a financial perspective, if the option was there where I could actually still live in my parents' house, I would take it 100%. Because one of the things is that this is normally for men normally want to come out of their parents' home and actually, be a man, right? But in terms of looking at it from a perspective of being more financially wise, if I can stay in my parents' house and I don't have to be paying this bag of rent and all of that, and I can build in other areas, I can do some investments, I can put down some proper savings, have some down payments for my house, or maybe if I have some land, I can build on it, or
buy
I can
apartment, some real estate.
I could maybe start up my business in my parents' home and all that, and actually building from there. So staying in your parents' home before you're married is actually not a bad idea when it comes on to be in a better financial position. I didn't have that luxury per se, because my parents were in St. Anne and I was in Kingston, so I had to always figure it out and build from there and all that. But if thinking about it, was in my parents' home, I could save my money, buy my furniture cash at the time, prepare properly for certain things even more. You understand? And I would say that that's okay. But if it's a case where you have to be on your own, then it also prepares a man to take care of himself, to run his home, so that when the woman comes and he brings this woman into his space, he already developed the tools of securing his family or letting her feel secure. So it's good either way when you look at it. But
whatever will make you more financially stable.
yeah,
Because that is
I
one of the
go for
biggest
that.
issue that comes with marriage. When
Yeah.
you're married but financially you're struggling. That's one of the biggest issues. So the best way you can get yourself prepared is staying where you are and properly building from there.
And strategize. Prepare the plan, and establish a firm plan for the future.
All right, thank you guys so much. I'm not seeing any more questions at this time, and we are a long time into the conversation, and albeit a good conversation, I think we have to land the plane at this time. So let me just say a big thank you to all of you viewing from Facebook, YouTube, and it's been a great conversation. We're so happy that you stopped by. We hope that you benefited. Please, we are intending to save this and to share so persons can catch the replay. Go ahead and share it with all your contacts so that everyone can benefit from this. But before we close, there is a special public service announcement that I want to give. And then I'm going to also allow the Minott to tell us about a conference that is coming up just in about a minute or so. So guys, what a way to announce to the world that I've officially started the YouTube channel, Let's Talk with Roshelle. So many persons I know would want to get plugged in, but they're not big on social media. And so I've decided to extend the platform to YouTube. So listen, if you're watching this, go to YouTube right now and go and search for Let's Talk with Roshelle. This live conversation is the debut. What a way to launch our channel and don't even introduce myself. Coming soon. But go over there, like the video, watch it again if you will, and please do not leave unless you subscribe. Please and thank you very much. All right, I'm gonna ask the Minotts to tell us quickly about the conference that is coming up for them on the weekend.
Okay. All right. So before we get straight into that, for those persons who are asking about the books, we shared the link about the 5 love languages. That's one book, very important book. I also shared a link for a playlist of Jimmy Evans, where he talks a lot about marriage. So there's a playlist, so you can go on there and check it out. Very good stuff. All right, and also come to seminars and platforms like this. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Baby, go ahead.
Yeah, so here in Canada we'll be having a conference at our church, No Limit International Ministries, which is Marriage the Naked Truth.
Yes, ma'am.
This is not for single people, married people, but for single people, for those who are dating, those who are courting, those who are, hopefully looking to find somebody.
Complicated.
And those who are in a complicated situation right now, are what do you call it? Situationship, all right? No, because there's a lot of situationship in Christendom right now.
Don't get me started.
So if, married people and all of that, you're all welcome to join us if you're in Canada. Please join us at this conference.
In person.
Right, in person. It's in Mississauga. In our comments, you can go on our page. You will see the flyer. You can go on our personal page. You will also see that right there. And you'll see all the information you need. It's the 17th of this month.
This Saturday
coming.
Yeah, if you guys could share, because I know there are people watching from outside of Canada. If you're able to share the Zoom link,
yes,
or let them know where they can find it.
So for those who are gonna be on Zoom, maybe from Jamaica, or you're joining from the US, the UK, wherever, we're going to be putting this link underneath the video that is on each of us page.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll add it.
Yes, you can see it there.
All right, so guys, if you're able to, unable to, go ahead and join into the conference this weekend. being posted by No Limits International Ministry, Marriage the Naked Truth, where they will reveal to heal.
Yes,
I want to know what is being revealed, and I want to know what kind of healing is taking place. So go ahead and join. I'm definitely going to be plugging into that, and I invite you to do that too. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for all the love. It's been so amazing taking this journey. Let's talk with Roshelle and yours truly, Love No Bad Bad Bad. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, take good care of yourselves. Have a great one. We love you loads. Mwah. Bye guys.
What's your relationship status? Are you married, engaged, picking up the pieces of a broken heart, or single and exploring relationship dynamics? Then this is for you. No Limits International Ministries proudly presents Marriage, the Naked Truth, a conference where we will reveal to heal marriages and prepare you before you say I do. Come hear the dynamic presentation by the Minotts and others. Get ready to explore the raw realities of relationships as we deep dive into the real world of matrimony, the highs, the lows, and the tactics to navigate the challenges. Come and experience this mind-opening journey toward understanding, acceptance, and love. Remember, the best teams know each other's strengths and flaws. Here's to leveling up and becoming the ultimate team in the game of life and love. Mark your calendars for Saturday, February 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at 5915 Atlantic Drive, Unit 3, Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Live streaming will be available on Zoom, and refreshments will be available. Admissions free. See you there.